I thought it was probably one of his better all-around efforts. He's had a number of starts since he's been here, but I think he stepped up against a good receiver and a good receiving core, and did a fine job.
Okay, what adjustment did you? It seemed like he was getting the ball off so quick in the first half. What adjustment did you guys make to get more pressure on him?
They were trying to protect him. He was getting rid of the ball quickly, and it wasn't a specific adjustment in the second half. It was getting them into situations where we knew they had to throw the ball. They were trying to throw the ball a lot on early downs. They were throwing the ball a lot on second down, and so at the end of the game, particularly when they were forced to have to throw the ball, we were able to generate some more pressure against them.
How were you able to limit then their yardage went way down in the second half? The team is in general, and just T.Y. Hilton specifically, what adjustments?
Everybody talks about these great halftime adjustments in this league, and really, at halftime, you don't have much time to do a whole lot. It's a little bit overrated. I think I may have mentioned that one time last year, but what we did, we just went into the halftime, and it was, thank God the offense did such a great job moving the ball the way they did at the end of the half, and we got a heck of a young kicker, who went out there and drilled it to get us in there at 0-0. It was like starting the game all over again. They had put up some big numbers. A couple of plays, they got almost 100 yards on two plays. One was we didn't make the play. We were right there. We didn't make it. Another one, we just didn't execute the defense very well. But, we just said, hey, we have to go out. We've got to win the second half. We've got to eliminate the big plays and just keep on playing. And we did adjust our coverage philosophy a little bit as the second half went on to be a little bit more coverage conscious. In other words, we weren't going to beat our heads up against the wall trying to blitz them there in the beginning of the second half, knowing that they were getting the ball out quick. So we were going to try to cover them with some different looks, and it helped us. And we made some big-time third down stops throughout the game that sometimes go unnoticed. The third down stop on the opening drive, believe it or not, the 3rd and 1 where they're, in the 30-yard line area. I don't know the exact yard line, but they have a 3rd and 1, and they try to throw it on a little rub route. And our coverage on that play, if you go look at that play, is about as good as it could be. I mean, we have guys draped all over them, and Grimes tips the ball away. It's an incompletion. They try the field goal, and they miss it. Doesn't look like much at the time, but sure as heck at the end of the ball game was a key play in the game. When they were coming out off the goal line there in the second half, they had 2 short yardage plays, 2nd and short and then a 3rd and 1, where we stopped them. They punted, and we got the ball back. They punted well, but our offense went and drove the ball 60-some-odd yards for a touchdown right after that, after we had them backed up. So there were some key plays in the game that certainly helped us, and at halftime we just tried to regroup and keep on hammering and said it was a 0-0 score, and let's go win the game.
If you have to go for any length of time without Paul, beyond, obviously, we'll see Randy's snaps go up and Jared, perhaps Von Martin, would you also consider doing any packages in which Dion Jordan's snaps would increase as well, should that scenario unfold?
Well, we'd like to get Dion more involved as we progress through the season, but his role is different than Paul's. Take a look at the body types. There's a little bit different type of guy. But certainly, we're going to try to increase his work. And we're not certain as to right now, how Paul's condition will be here as the week goes on and over the next few days and so forth. So we're going to plan. We always have a plan. If we're going to need to juggle some people around, just like yesterday in the secondary going into the game. Fortunately, the guys that had the opportunity stepped up big time for us, and whoever it's going to be, they'll be ready, and we'll be ready.
Kevin, what happened on the Dion Jordan play when he appeared to have the sack? Pushed him?
Well, if you look at the play, Luck jerks the ball right as Dion is approaching him, and I honestly think Dion thought he threw it. So when he hit him, he pulled off. And then he saw him take off, and you could see him on the tape. He goes chasing after him. He literally, I'm not sure how, but he does pump the ball. And I think, he just, his angle, whatever, maybe his head was down, his eyes were down, whatever, he thought the ball was released and didn't finish, the play. And that's how he got out of that one.
What's the lesson to be learned on that?
Finish the play. But sometimes guys are getting a little nervous about hitting these quarterbacks because, if he does release the ball and you pile drive him into the ground, you're likely to get a flag. So I think it was a young player making an error in judgment, and hopefully, he's getting a lot of flack from the guys in the room right now, but deservedly so. But I don't think he'll make that same mistake again.
Coach, take us through the Brent Grimes interception in the fourth quarter. What did you see on film?
Well, Brent, is a very instinctive playmaker, and that's why it was disappointing on the earlier throw, because he had actually better position on the first throw than he did on the second throw. He had to kind of work his way back underneath him on that. But we got some pressure on the quarterback. He had to step up in the pocket, and then he launched one, and Brent was just tracking it all the way, got himself in front of Reggie Wayne, and just went up really strong for the ball and made a heck of an interception. And it was a great play at that particular time in the game. We really needed it.
Coach, with
Two more?
with the team that's coming in here this Sunday, that Falcons offense, what sort of confidence does this defense gain out of what you were able to do yesterday against a similar type of offense?
Well, we're playing a team with an outstanding Pro Bowl quarterback, coming off of his best statistical game probably in his career in terms of yardage. I think his quarterback rating's about 107 right now. And he's got a core of skilled players around him about as good as anybody in the league in terms of throwing the ball. Receivers, a Pro Bowl, a Hall of Fame tight end who can still play at an extremely high level. So it's going to be a big time challenge. We'll be ready. Our players know that we're confident, but we know we can be better. We're not close to where we need to be. We got to improve, keep improving every week. But this will be a big time challenge. We got to get pressure on this guy. This guy is a very cool customer when he can sit in the pocket and throw the football. So we're going to have to mix pressure and coverage and try to keep him off balance.
Alan,
When-
next one.
Good.
Again, Alan and,
How would you assess the play of Ellerby and Wheeler so far?
We're really pleased with both those guys. I thought I think between the two of them, they probably had, on our statistics as we grade the tape, I think Donnell had about 16 hits, and Phillip might have had 13 or 14. And between the two of them, they were upwards of around 30 hits in the ball game. They fly around. They play with great energy. We got to just keep on limiting the mistakes and improving the communication. But they play at a very, very high tempo, and I'm really, really pleased with that. One last thing, I just want to make one mention. This was a kind of game as a coach you go into, and sometimes games are, I won't ever say they're easy to call, but you get in a game and you kind of get in a rhythm and the calls are coming and you get a great feel and you can't wait to get to the next call like I was kind of talking about last week. This was not one of those games. This was a game, it was hard sledding the whole way. But I want to credit the defensive staff. The guys on the staff did a phenomenal job of helping me during the game. Guys up in the press box, Blue Adams, Charlie Bullen, particularly Dave Correo, giving me information that I needed. And then the guys on the sideline were awesome. George Edwards with those linebackers you just mentioned did a phenomenal job. Lou Anarumo had some suggestions coverage-wise as the second half was unfolding that really helped us immensely. And I got to credit Casey Rogers for the last call in the game. He put the thought in my head right before the play, and we had a little time to try to orchestrate that call. And those guys really, and I mean that sincerely, they really made a big-time difference in the game yesterday, all the assistant coaches on defense, and I'm very thankful for that.
Quick question.
Brian,
Okay,
last
I
one.
just,
We're almost
the-
got me.
The one position that's kind of hurt you on pass defense has been the tight end. Now you got a Hall of Famer you're going to get. I mean, is there anything, any quick remedy you can come up with?
No, if you know of any, let me know. You know, it's funny. I knew that question might be posed, but when you look around the league, it's not just us. It's, you know, these tight ends, they're darn good athletes. They're mismatch athletes in terms of coverage at times. You see them, you know, on a weekly basis. There's guys that numbers are really big. Their numbers of catches are big, and we happen to be facing some really good ones. Not just this week. Last week we had one. This week we had a very athletic guy. Certainly Gonzalez is that way. The guy the following week's going to be that way. You know, so we got to just keep mixing things up, you know, and do a better job against them. But I think it's part of the way football is today, that the tight end